Yes. Kate Falcho, welcome to Irish Granny Helen. Welcome to Gerald of Tarot Stash. Welcome everybody with your knitting. I said that already.
I
Irish
know.
Granny.
I'm just excited. I'm just excited. I mean, don't deny me that pleasure, Helen. I
You can
mean,
say my name anytime you want,
I
Gerald. I'd
just
be
it
delighted.
makes me ridiculously happy to share space with you.
Oh, that's
It's
so sweet.
beautiful. I mean,
Oh, I love it too. I have a very good time. I think everybody enjoys when we get together. It's good
I
energy.
I think so,
Yeah.
and because what I am finding for me right now, this meditative aspect of doing something like knitting helps me to remember to be in my body and allows me to have something different upon which to focus.
Well, I respect that. I'm a little more neurotic. I set unrealistic goals for myself, and as you know, I sort of divided my channel into four parts: Substack, YouTube, private, and public. Right, four parts. And I'm
Mhm.
doing some intersection of content, but a lot of different original content for all four. So I've quadrupled my work. I'm losing my mind, and I'm so grateful. What does it say?
Says overachiever.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's
No,
the
it's
oldest child syndrome is what it is. And just in general, the energy is very enervating these days. I just don't want to get out of bed, and it's been
yeah,
snowing, and just
yes.
a lot of things. So when I approach these particular projects we have going, it's
Hmm.
like I haven't done my homework. I did my homework. I want to show you something. Are you sitting down?
I am sitting down.
I stopped because I needed help. I would have gone farther. I got all the way down. I got the heel. I did,
Good for you.
and I wanted to show you. Remember, I bragged. This is not my first rodeo. I've done a pair
Yes.
of socks before. They look a little worse for wear because I've had them for years, but
Oh, good for you.
I just don't remember what I did. As with anything, I just don't remember.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
hoping that you'll be kind enough to tell me what. Okay, so here's my question. All right.
Hmm.
Okay. So you make the heel flap, blah blah blah. Then it says, okay, I did the numbers of rows. It's the correct number of stitches. It's actually two needles combined on one. And then it
Yes.
says, next step, turn the heel. Okay. There, I turned the heel. Now, row one, do so many stitches. And I counted them, and it's 20 stitches. Okay. But
Hmm.
there's 30 stitches on this needle, which is appropriate.
Okay.
So what 20 stitches am I supposed to be using? Am I supposed to use these two needles?
Hang on. I'm just looking. Okay.
Because it's 15 and 15.
Yeah. Okay.
So I wanted to cry. I got no patience. And then I thought, wait a minute. Gerald is going to figure it out. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yep, it's 15 and 15. 2, 4, 6.
Okay. Yes, you are working the first shaping row of the heel, and this is in the comments on the original post. She says the first shaping row is row 1, purl 17, purl 2 together, purl 1, and turn. This means you have worked across 20 of the 30 stitches.
Right.
Stitches left unworked on the needle.
I don't see that. I don't have that written down. My comment goes to the question that ends blah blah blah, purl 1 equals 20 questions, 20 stitches, question mark, and I see no answer.
Okay, I had to dive down a little bit on that, and so
I probably have another page somewhere. in my binder. I copy these and then I put them in these see-through sleeves, and I have an actual 3-ring binder that I keep these things in. So
Sure.
okay, so
what I would recommend is it sounds like you need to have 30 stitches on one needle,
right,
which is the needle that you have done the heel flap.
right, got that. And when they say turn, I just completed this row. So turning this way. Now, which of the other 2 needles do I use? That was my problem.
You don't use the other needles. Those just sit there.
Okay.
Because what you're going to do, what you're doing is you're actually this is the flap. Let's picture this is the flap.
This is the flap.
What you're doing is you're creating this where you're going to be turning the heel. So what you're working on in the 12 rows is you're going to turn the heel, which is going to force that heel to go down. And then you're going to pick up these stitches and you will add those to the it's okay. It will make sense, I swear.
Okay, so let's back up. I've completed the final row of the heel.
Yes.
I've turned it to where it starts again. This is where I do the 20 stitches?
Yes.
And I just leave the others sitting on the needle?
Yes.
Why doesn't it say that?
I don't know.
See, they don't do a good job when they write explanations. I need it spelled out.
Yes.
Microscopically, right?
So when the first on row 1 of turning the heel,
yeah,
it should be purl
17, purl 2 together, purl 1,
yes.
Turn, and that's 20 stitches. Turn it and you do a slip stitch, and then the rest are combinations of slipping and knitting. Yeah, yes. that makes sense. I just didn't know where in this mess I was going to start. The actual job of knitting is not the hard part. It's the how to put it together. I have not a good sense of spatial relationships. You just explained turning the heel, and you might as well be talking about flying to the moon. I have no idea. Okay. You know?
and what's important, the heel flap is actually done to make the sock stronger.
Yeah, because you walk hard on your heels.
Yes.
On my shoes, I know I walk quite a bit, and on my shoes, I have found, first of all, this is FYI, a little public service announcement. I have been foolish and spent, in the old days when I was really working a lot, $150 on a pair of walking shoes. Now I buy the $45 pair from Amazon. Lasts equally as long, equally as comfortable. Okay. Yeah. So when I walk, pretend this is the bottom of the shoe, I will get a worn hole in this part. I put my foot down hard with my back of my heel when the back end of my foot when I walk. The rest of this looks relatively new, and the poor bottom of the heel is just destroyed. Right. So they put this here to try to help that. It's rubbing and it's getting pounded on. Yeah. So what we're doing right now is, I don't know, just this part. I'm sorry. This part?
Okay, actually at the top of where you are.
Oh, see? I have no sense of spatial relationship.
Because you can see the ridges, which is your heel flap.
Yeah, I can see the heel flap. So we're going up towards the toe.
Yes, and then when you turn the heel, that's what causes this to happen from your heel flap. Hold it up. Okay. Turn it flat with the heel up, the sole up. The sole up.
Oh, the sole. Okay.
Okay. So where your left hand is the heel flap. Yes.
Right here.
Yeah. Or
okay.
Yes.
That's
and so up at the top there, go up to there. That's the turning of the heel. And then what'll happen is you will actually go and you will pick up stitches. I'm trying to see if there's a good picture. You will pick up stitches. Here, let me draw something. So, hello, Fallon and Tim Blackvale.
This is knitting a sock remedial, kindergarten level.
That's
Thank
all
you,
right.
everybody, for joining us. Oh, how nice! Hit the thumbs up. I always forget to remind people.
Yes. Okay, so we have. This is a sock. This is the heel. Right.
Oh.
We're turning the heel.
Right.
And when we turn the heel, we're going to have some extra stitches here. You're going to actually pick up stitches along here, and you'll pick up, let's see.
Is that what this seam is here?
Yes, that is exactly what that seam is. And
okay,
then you will.
I'm having trouble visualizing it because, three-dimensional stuff, I'm from another plane of existence. I don't really understand this material world.
Yeah.
But if we do it step by step, it'll make sense. I mean, look, I was able to get this much done.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
but we're just trying to figure out where they weren't specific enough. Let's put it that way.
No, I understand.
I want to ask, is this Tim? My friend Tim?
Tim
I don't
Blackvale.
recognize. Yeah, I don't recognize the name, but that y'all, it might be symptomatic.
Tim,
Tim from Texas.
Helen's friend from Texas?
Who's a great knitter. Tim, why are you traveling incognito? That's not fair. But I'm so glad you're here. What do you think? Are you impressed, Tim? Look at this. You didn't think I could do it. Okay.
Well,
all right. So now it's time for a little fun. I'm gonna take a break because I'm exhausted from figuring out the knitting.
Well, let me finish this this needle, and I can show you what I've done.
Oh, did you do something besides your sock?
Well, no, I'm on where I wanted to show you where I was on the sock, and because I'm actually knitting two socks at once.
Two socks, right?
So I'm knitting my pair of socks.
Oh, God.
So I have this.
Oh, God.
And what I've done to make sure that I'm knitting the same is I actually, when I finished the and I told you I was doing the knit 2, purl 2, rib, because that's not what the directions said.
I know.
And so what I did was I actually counted the number of rounds that I knit on this sock, and I am doing that number of rounds on this sock.
So you keep them caught up with each other.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I think the only complaint I would have about doing that would be if it gets really, really frustrating and you're exhausted, you finally figure it out, but you need a little break from it. You can move forward from it rather than do it again immediately on another sock.
Well, or you can do it again on another sock so that you don't have to try to remember it later.
Oh,
that's what I do.
Yeah, that would make sense, Gerald. That would be logical. Okay.
Yeah.
So, have you made anything besides the socks? No pressure. I'm impressed how much progress you've made.
Actually, I have not. I had a period of about 2 weeks where I was not doing any knitting.
Yeah.
I had some other things that were going on, so I didn't.
I have a grandson who is going to turn 6 in July, and of my 3 grandchildren, 2 girls and a boy, he's the only boy, he loves the things I knit. The girls are just, meh. I knit a rainbow poncho for his sister. She's older. And she wore it once or twice, not a lot of enthusiasm. He wore it constantly until he outgrew it. So for his birthday, I'm going to make him a poncho and a hat. And I got the most beautiful yarn. It's still in the bag. I should have brought it forward. I'll bring it next time. It's variegated in shades of teals and greens. It's just
Mhm.
beautiful. So I'm hoping, that it'll be good.
I
All
love that.
right. All right.
Well, and I also love that, for Lucian Despota
Oh,
loves this fellow knitting
hi. I haven't heard
soul.
from her in a while. Yes.
Yeah. One of the great things is that people think hand knitted items or handmade items are so precious that they shouldn't be used.
Uh,
Let me tell you, use them, care for them, and if you love something that has been knitted for you or sewn for you and you take care of it and you love it and you wear it out because you've worn it so much, that crafter, that person will be happy to do another one for you because you're knit worthy.
it's such a compliment, right?
Yes, it
I knit a
really
lot of
is.
stuff as gifts, and to varying degrees of enthusiasm. Sometimes I'm knitting them for people from afar, so they don't always quite fit right, and
Yeah.
that's my bad, but it's practice, right? But when I see them, my daughters will send me pictures of the kids. They'll be, I don't know, in the pumpkin patch or something. And all three of them have on the things I've knit. And it's not a collaboration. They didn't plan it ahead. They really do
Yeah.
wear them quite a bit. It's very sweet. It's very nice. Yeah, I think you should use them. I had an aunt in Ireland who knit an Irish cable knit sweater and a matching hat for every birthday, Christmas, Easter, every year, my whole entire childhood. And she did it for all of us. And she did it for
Mhm.
quite a long time. Probably by the time we got to about 8 or 9 children, she got too old to do it. But
Uh,
that's a lot of
that
knitting.
is a lot. Yeah.
Irish cable knit, beautiful
Oh,
stuff.
yes.
And I never fully appreciated it as a child, but she did the same thing for my children.
Oh, that's
So her
lovely.
great nieces. So she must have continued for my younger siblings, and I just don't remember.
Mhm.
And the things she knit for the older of my children, she died, and I passed those on. All of my children wore them, all of them,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
and I kept them for my grandchildren. At which point, my daughters were like, "Well, these are a little worn out." 5 kids later.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Your mother
I
used to
remember,
crochet.
yeah.
Oh, oh, that's so nice, Kay. So
My
nice.
mom used to crochet. Yeah.
I have a question for you. I
Uh-oh.
love these questions. Okay, for anybody who hasn't joined us before, we like to give each other little quiz question type things. It stimulates conversation because
Yeah.
otherwise Gerald and I would have nothing to say.
No, it would be silent. It would be an hour of just
Be
us.
like watching a couple of monks in a monastery in their hour of silence, right? Okay, so I found this great thing that I got, hoping it would be good. And they are
Mhm.
just topics for discussion to stimulate a conversation, and they're hilarious. Okay,
Mhm.
Gerald,
Yes.
give us your bad opinion from your bad self. Name an athlete that you consider overrated. And my response to this would be, if you got 24 hours.
Well, okay. So I know older athletes.
Mm-hmm.
So OJ Simpson is somebody I think was overrated.
There's a subject.
Yes. Come for me, YouTube.
Yeah.
Um, and so I also think boy, I see what happens is when somebody like Pete Rose from the Cincinnati Reds and the Big Red Machine, they fell off of their pillar when they got caught up in some inappropriate behavior, like gambling And
Oh, is that a problem? Oh, I guess if you're making money playing something.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. What about you? What's who is an
I
athlete
hold a
that is
very
overrated?
I hold a very unpopular opinion about the entire topic. I think sports should be for fun. You can watch from the sidelines if you're so disposed for fun. They should not be being paid. If you are that enthusiastic about participating in a sport, that should be the reward. I think they're grossly overpaid. It shows a real deficit in our culture, our values. The whole merchandise,
Oh yeah.
cost of the tickets, price of the drinks, it's obscene. Our adulation of athletics is bizarre to me. I'm
Hmm.
not denying that it requires a lot of training and willpower. I mean, and it's a unique talent. I can fully appreciate that. But we put all of our value, all of our attention on that. People will say to me out of the blue, "So, who are you for in the big game?" And my response is, "What game? I don't even know what you're talking about,
Uh-huh.
and nor do I care." So I feel like they're overrated, overpriced. It's a reflection of poor values. I don't think that competition like that is good for us. I think that it's a substitute for war. And
Mm.
so, sorry, the only sport that I have any interest in, and it's not very enthusiastic, but sort of, is ice dancing.
Okay, because yes, there's a lot of skill with that.
Oh, I wouldn't want to do it. I'd break a hip.
No. Well, and I do, I having said, oh, there's a lot of skill to that. There is a lot of skill for sports.
Yeah.
I absolutely think so. But boy, the hype is really something that is crazy. And to rate um, colleges based upon the sports teams instead of the academics and the student life, and it seems a little odd.
To give degrees to kids because they participate in a sport which is of value to your school, and I'm going to use the word, it's controversial, to cheat them through to their degree by cutting them slack and buying them tutors and letting them do an easier version of the requirements. And that all is true. That all does take
Yeah.
place.
Hmm.
I think that that's reprehensible when you consider the kids that work full time to put themselves through school and are tortured working on their really challenging academics. And
Yes.
that's not to say there aren't athletes who are very intelligent and do hard work in school. I'm not saying that. I'm
Hmm.
talking
Yes.
about the priorities that we have. Then I think it's obscene that the schools make money off these kids and give them nothing in return. Well, some of them get scholarships. I don't think that's entirely fair either.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and there's what's the focus of going to school? I mean, for me, it should be academics.
That's right. Well, and I think there should be a qualifications in what's the word I want? Distinction made in education. I think really you want a higher education to get educated, to
Hmm.
learn stuff, right?
Hmm.
And you want to be hireable. You want to be able to get a career, a job, a profession, a skill.
Yeah.
And you should be able to do both if you want, but the emphasis on having a college degree in order to do an entry level job somewhere, everybody has to have, it's insanity when it's
That
60,000,
that is
100,000.
nuts. Yes.
It's
For
crazy.
people who, yeah. I do think education, there should be a lot of opportunity for people who choose to go and study. I'm thinking it just costs too much. Yeah,
Oh,
the fact that people have to have student loans, and then I mean, it's crazy at the debt. Somebody could leave college with a bachelor's degree owing $250,000, if not more.
I know kids that did that. One of my daughters got accepted to a college on the West Coast, not an Ivy League school, but a private school, a good school. It's considered like an Ivy League of the West Coast, and it wasn't Stanford. And this is 20 years ago. They wanted $50,000 a year. We just laughed. You must be joking. You know, that wasn't happening. She went elsewhere. But I don't believe that education should be a money-making process. You should be educated for the sake of having an educated populace. And education is what's the word I want? A human right.
Yeah. Sort of like healthcare.
Pardon me?
Sort of like healthcare.
God.
By the way, Dean James says, wasn't it Rosie Greer who knitted? Loved him. Also loved Joe Namath and his shaving commercials. Didn't he pose in pantyhose at one time? I believe Joe Namath did. And the gimmick of that, if I understand it correctly, was that it actually helped him pay attention to where his legs were. It helped him to be aware of his legs and where it was doing.
He didn't know where his legs were. Okay, you're gonna have to clarify.
Well,
that.
no, it's oh, Helen. But it actually.
No, I'm actually being serious.
Because if in the pantyhose, I don't know. Have you ever worn pantyhose?
Oh yes.
Okay.
They were God's greatest invention when I was in high school. Are you kidding?
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a feeling there's some stories about that, kids.
Well, yeah. Okay, you didn't go through the particular torture that young women went through when I was coming up. You know those, they used to call them nylons. They were like a long sock, a long knee sock that went up to high thigh. Those had to attach to your body. Right? Mm-hmm. You wore an elastic belt around your middle that had little things that hung down and little tabs, a garter belt. They were miserable, so uncomfortable. When they invented pantyhose, I remember they were called legs, like French legs, and they came in a little white plastic egg container.
Yes.
Oh my God, we were thrilled. Are you kidding me? They were so much more comfortable, and you could get rid of that torture implement. It was like an Iron Maiden for the modern age. You could get rid of it. So Joe Namath wore pantyhose.
Joe Namath wore pantyhose, and what I remember, and I was very young, but they actually helped him. It gave awareness to his legs and what he was, as he was running or doing things like that. It helped him to become aware of, when you're running. I don't run. I know. I don't run.
I have in the past against my will, but okay. Yeah.
But it's actually like having a rubber band or something on it. It creates your awareness of your legs. And so it was the gimmick that they used for him to talk about the pantyhose.
Oh.
And I don't remember what kind of pantyhose they were. So somebody who's watching
somebody might know.
Do an internet search.
Yeah, Kay is talking about how the amount of clothing, the nylons, the pantyhose, and what you had to wear, and you had to wear a dress, and frequently you had no option, but you had to wear a slip under it because it was considered, I had a next door neighbor who was this little old lady who was she fancied herself refined. Her husband was the doctor. That's what she called him, the doctor.
Oh, my goodness.
She was a nice lady, but she was very full of Southern mannerisms from the past, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the things that she did, she drove a big old Cadillac. Now, meanwhile, put yourself in her shoes for a minute. Here's this refined, sort of bit of a snob, married to the doctor. And who moves in next door but this gaggle of Irish gypsies? All of them under 10 years old. Anyway, she would come out to go to the store. She drove a gigantic, beautifully polished Cadillac.
Mm-hmm.
And she would not leave the house without a hat,
Oh,
gloves,
she was always dressed.
gloves, and
Yes.
hosiery. Just
Yeah.
cracked me up then, cracks me up now.
Okay, so yeah, so when it was hot, and then Tim said they would also wear them underneath for warmth. When I worked at a trucking company, the guys on the dock would wear them like thermals. You're absolutely right.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because they were hot. They were uncomfortable.
Yeah. I remember here's my thing, dress code. When I was a new manager, I worked for someone who was a former nun. And I have to say, she was a lovely, lovely person. Lovely person. And we were working on a dress code. She wanted a written dress code. And there were basically 3 levels of staff. Yeah, there were your professional information staff. There were your, I worked in a library. Then there were circulation staff, people who helped customers check materials in and out. And then there were those who were shelving,
right?
Shelving pages. And we worked on this damn thing for longer than we needed to. I always hated, a dress code. Well, this thing wasn't going anywhere. And I finally said, how about you let me just put everything together? And this manager had a very high level of professionalism expectations for all of the staff. If you were interacting with customers, she basically wanted you dressed for Sunday.
Okay, so let me guess here a second. The managerial types had to wear a plaid box pleated skirt with a blazer, whereas the clerical staff could wear a knitted vest over their sorry, too many years of Catholic school.
Well, and here's the interesting thing is, so I did this, and it was divided up into 3 layers, and 3 levels. And I did not actually, because she wanted me, because my staff were the circulation staff, and here it is, my staff. These were reporting to me. I'm taking care of them. I'm taking care of these 36 people. And I did not say that they needed to wear pantyhose. She wanted the women to wear pantyhose. And I did not want the women to wear pantyhose. So I left it off. And then I gave it to her. She approved it. She put it out there. And she missed it. She was so angry at me.
Oh.
And what was interesting is I said to her, I looked at her and I said, I think this is best for the staff that work for me. You had final approval on it. I gave it to you for your approval, and it got your approval. She was not happy with me.
You iconoclast. You're such a rebel.
and let me tell you what's funny, and this makes me ridiculously happy, is my staff loved me because of that. They were like going, oh my gosh.
Thank God.
Absolutely loved me for it.
Were they allowed to wear slacks?
They were allowed to wear slacks. The thing, the professional staff, the information staff, were not allowed to wear denim of any kind.
Oh, I know. Denim is so revolutionary. What is people's problem with jeans? I don't get it. Denim was just, do you remember when denim was like an act of the devil or something?
No, I'm not that old.
But you are going to hell for that remark.
Well, yes, amongst other things.
Please spare us. We haven't gotten to that card yet.
Yes.
No, there was a time when I was growing up, in the dark ages, when the denim was hand woven on a loom in the living room,
Yeah.
where it was considered an act of revolutionary defiance to wear a pair of jeans.
Oh
And
my
what we used to do? We used to cut the seam at the bottom and replace, where the fabric was cut, insert fabric like calico or whatever, and then embroider all around it. I actually have the leg of one of my husband's pairs of jeans behind glass hanging in the stairway. When we first met, he had a pair of jeans from the early 70s that had kind of panels down the side. You remember those? They would
Oh,
have
yes,
panels.
yes.
So when I looked at it one day, it had a curve at the top. I looked at it one day and I thought, that looks like the windows in a brownstone. And I started doing little scenes from like a tall building, and each window had something different. And then I got tired of it. They got packed away for years.
Oh, yeah.
Finally, after my youngest child was born, I found it, and I had just enough windows left. I did one for each daughter. I did, the instrument they played and a symbol for their astrological sign, and maybe a little something that represented them. I had one that was a lifeguard, and put that. So, and I had it framed, and he was just gobsmacked. It was fun.
I love that. I love that. By the way, more people have come in. Dean James is here. Sleuth Jill, Eliza Bassett,
Patricia. Hi, Jill.
Yeah, Swampy.
Dean, I recognize your name too. And Eliza.
Yeah.
Linda, I recognize all these names. This is very exciting.
Yes. And please, everybody, like this video, leave a comment so that you can encourage Helen to do more lives, because she's doing fine.
Thank you. Because you're being my eyeballs.
And and I do have big eyeballs right there.
Okay, it's time for another question.
I love it. Oh, I have worn her out. And by the way, I am ready to start turning my heel flaps. Except here's the problem. I must only have, you're supposed to cast on 60 stitches.
Yeah.
I did not cast on 60 stitches. I apparently have, I am 4 stitches short.
Do half in one part and half in the other, and it'll turn out fine.
Yeah, I figured I'm just going to go, well, all right.
Keep it even number, and you'll be fine. Yep. Oh, I do stuff like that all the time. I'm more likely to end up with extra stitches.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, I don't know what this is, because this is actually a game, and so there are a few instructional cards scattered throughout, so I'm not gonna worry about that. I'm picking this card at random. Oh, this is a great question. Yet another one where I have absolutely no opinions. Name a popular band or group that you consider overrated. I can hardly wait.
This sounds familiar. A band or a group that I think is overrated. Oh.
Where do I start?
Well, I just did we answer this last time? Because I think I said
I don't think so, because I put them at the end and I pulled this from the center.
Okay.
So who knows
Linda
what
Bishop.
the question?
Linda Bishop is
the Rolling Stones.
Rolling Stones, and Swampy 63 said Elvis.
Agree. Mick Jagger is not a good person, allegedly.
Oh, well, yes.
I can't separate,
Yes. I have difficulty with rap music because I don't understand it.
I'm so happy to hear you say that.
And so I watched a documentary. It was a PBS documentary called Sound Breaking. Really a great series. And they they explained how rap came to be and its cultural significance.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I completely understand that
Oh
now.
yeah, yeah.
I'm not particularly fond of it. So I think, again, I'm also that person, Helen, the behavior of people when they're not on stage or in the studio
Yeah.
really is just awful.
Yeah.
It,
I agree with you. I can't separate it. When I know of an artist that really goes out of his or her way to be uh generous with people and
mhm,
benevolent, that kind of thing, it does make a difference. It doesn't, however, necessarily ameliorate the situation if I don't like their music, but
right.
it can work the opposite way, right?
Yes.
So you didn't really name anybody specifically. I think we'll just stipulate that rap is not a big favorite.
Yeah, it's not a big
Yeah.
favorite to me. And there is Swampy 63 said rap has some great beats, and I'm like, it totally does. And I completely understand that. And what's been really interesting is for me, crossover music. Why do people have to stick, oh, this is country, this is pop, this is rock? I mean, it's just, can't it be music?
It's just that's marketing. That's
Yeah.
trying to market. The person that I think of now, I'm really gonna date myself because I haven't really listened to music with any kind of interest,
Mm-hmm.
mea culpa, since I had my first child,
Uh-huh.
because I simply didn't have the time, the interest, the attention span. I
Yeah.
didn't drive in the car a lot because I walked, pushed a stroller, so I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have a car radio. And when I listened to the radio, because this is pre-internet, I listened to a lot of political big surprise, political discussions and debates and that kind of thing. I didn't really like popular music. So the last musical artist that I think of when I think of somebody, and it's just a performer, not a band, that I really appreciate the artistry of their music is Linda Ronstadt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we
Gorgeous
talked
voice.
about Linda Ronstadt. She has a great range, and her styles are so impactful.
You know what I think? I think this is group or band. I think it may have been singular artist.
Oh, it might have been,
Yeah,
yes.
group or band. Well, the Beatles, I love. I mean, you know, I often thought if I go on to college, in college, to get my PhD, I'm going to get it on the cultural significance of that literary value of the lyrics and cultural
Ah,
significance of the Beatles, but I never did it. So yeah, yeah,
okay, okay.
I don't like any of them. Like, I think Beyonce's overrated. I think Taylor Swift is overrated. I understand where they appeal to a niche group, but I don't like a lot of the overproduction. I don't also, not saying they do this, but I don't like that mechanical voice that
Oh,
people. Yeah.
the what, auto tune.
Yes, yes.
I would push back a little bit with the Beyonce and the
Oh, you
Taylor
can.
Swift.
Hmm.
And I think part of it is there are some people who their skill sets are ever growing and
Hmm.
evolving. And there's I am all about music that empowers and makes people feel good.
Oh,
Give
sure.
give me a good 60s folk protest song, and I'm all about it.
Well, you know who's
All
great? Great person, great performer. Seen him live, better in real life even than recordings, is Willie Nelson. And I
Oh,
hate
we're talking
hate
about
country.
Willie.
I hate country music. Loved Willie Nelson. He is versatile and humorous and the consummate musician. It's about the music. It's not about the bells and whistles, sort of. And he crosses genres. He can sing all different kinds of music. I think
Yeah.
That's what I really like. Yeah.
Yeah, and I may have said this before. I like music that has great lyrics and music to match that. I also love it when a song can be done in multiple genres, because
Yeah.
then you know a lasting impact. And
Yeah.
I'm fine with people sampling songs, especially when they have the artist, like the
I don't
Fugees.
know what do you mean? Like if you listen to different kinds of music or
Well, sampling is when you take a bit of a song and you pop it into your music. Do you remember Ice Ice Baby from Vanilla Ice?
you know what I remember? Jim Carrey making fun of him.
Well, yes, but
No.
the Fugees did it with "Got Till It's Gone."
I don't
Okay,
know who they are.
it's
Yeah.
basically it's when they take a bit of a song
Hmm.
and then they put it into their song and they create some more things around it.
Isn't that plagiarism?
Not when they have permission or they have the original artist come on and sing it.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
so I really like that. I like when you can have a song that's able to be done in different genres.
Kind of evolves.
Yes, it
Yeah.
evolves and it stands on its own. So, so yeah. Um,
Linda Bishop, let me tell you a little gossip about Joan Baez. Okay, so I grew up.
oh, I'm a big Joan Baez fan. So,
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you the truth. I grew up in Southern California. I grew up in Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara is famous amongst performing artists. It's got a ton of culture and a lot of rich people with money. I mean, somebody had to be the housemaid and the cook, right? That's where I come from. But there are a lot of rich people there, and they have this gorgeous outdoor amphitheater called the Fiesta Bowl. And every famous person who performs in the world wants to perform there. It is stunning. The acoustics are beautiful. The weather's always nice. I've seen some really interesting shows there. And my husband played in the band, Mr. Rock and Roll, so he dragged me to so many things. One of the things that we went to was Joan Baez. And it was I hate to say this because I do love her voice and I grew up on her music. It was the most insulting performance I ever attended. She came out an hour late. She plopped down on a stool with her guitar like she was doing everybody a favor. And she made a little introductory speech about how she really didn't need us and she didn't need to be there.
when was this?
19 either 1979 or 1980. I don't know if we saw
Wow,
it when we were first dating or right after we got married, but yeah.
that's crazy.
One of the best performances that I saw in the same place was Jimmy Buffett.
Oh,
Oh my God. He's got that band behind him. Well, he did. The Coral Reefer Band.
okay.
Fabulous musicians. And he was high energy and fun. And it's what do they call stadium seating where you're sitting on the grass?
Yes,
You could sit on the grass in front of and we were really close. It was really pretty wonderful. But we were a little to the side, so we could see him in profile performing. We could see the whole entire band kind of laid out in a long line in front of us behind him and between these gigantic speakers. So he would do a song and he'd walk behind the gigantic speaker and open a bottle out of sight of the crowd. He
Oh,
should.
wow.
And then come back around and do another song. It was hilarious. Now,
That's
Al
interesting.
Yankovic, that movie Weird? Have you seen that?
I have not seen it.
It's good. It's really good, I thought. Really, really good. I didn't really know much about Al Yankovic, but
There's what's the one about Bob Dylan that's just out?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
I had Bob Dylan music at my wedding.
Okay.
Beatles and Bob Dylan. We had we both played instruments and we both went to the same string teacher, and
Mhm.
this very nice older lady. And for fun and extra money, she and two of her friends, two older ladies, had a string trio, a Baroque string trio. These are
Oh,
like
okay.
professionally trained. And as a wedding gift to us, she came and performed at our wedding. And this is in the church, right? So it was great because they played a lot of Baroque style music when people were waiting. They played the
Mhm.
entry Baroque music, which is my favorite. And then at the end, they start playing music. We get up to leave, they start playing, and it's very peppy version. And it took about, oh, I don't know, 20 or 30 seconds for people to realize what they were hearing. They played a Baroque, quick Baroque version of When I'm 64 by the Beatles.
I love it.
Oh, it was fabulous. It was really very good.
I love that.
Yeah, it was fun. Barry,
I
Jimmy
love
Buffett.
that.
Oh, Jimmy Buffett was, and he was a smart, smart man.
Yeah. You've got Chuck Berry was being talked about, and Joni Mitchell, Leonard Cohen.
Fleetwood Mac, all the,
Yeah.
yeah, the usual ones. Yeah. There's
So
some real standouts. Um, Nowadays I don't follow popular music. I shouldn't criticize because I don't really follow it. Don't really know anything about
I
it.
don't either because I listen to 80s music and early 90s music because they say the music that you listen to when you're in your 20s is the music that you listen to all your life.
So did you see the documentary about yacht rock?
No.
Oh God, it's so good. It's really good. Michael McDonald is actually a really nice man. Yeah, I forget what it's called, but it's not hard to find. You can Google yacht rock documentary. You'll find it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really good. Really, really good. Okay. Oh, I think we're in the overhyped section because the next question is name a city that's overhyped.
Name a city that is overhyped. Well, oh, geez.
While you're thinking, I'm just going to comment on this one comment. Somebody's talking, Grace is talking about, I believe it's Hu. It's a folk rock band from Mongolia, and they use traditional instruments and throat singing. I've heard them. They are wonderful,
Nice.
really interesting. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
A
Um,
city that's overhyped. Somebody said California.
that's
Hey,
that's that's
California.
that's not a city, that's a state, but that's okay.
It's a
Um,
beautiful place. It's really a nice place.
could be Hollywood.
Hollywood's over. Oh yeah, it's very disappointing. Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, I'm not going to say New York. I've been fortunate to go to New York, I think twice. San Francisco a couple of times. Both of them are pretty dang wonderful, in my opinion.
Love San Francisco.
So,
Love, love, love San Francisco. At least how it was the last time I was there. I don't know.
oh, Linda, I would actually have to think. Nashville was I went to Nashville.
I've never been there.
You don't necessarily need to. So,
Yeah, I'm not into country stuff, so I'm not. Um, New York, I went. Okay, this is a great story. My oldest and dearest friend worked for one of the aerospace contractors for years
uh-huh.
and years and got sent all around the world doing whatever they do. And because she traveled so much, she was always getting hotel reservations. They entered her into a drawing, a contest for the Omni International Hotels, very fancy hotels. She
Okay.
won the grand prize. And the
Wow.
grand prize was she got to go with 7 of her friends, so 8 people, to New York City for 5 days. They served us a gourmet meal in a private dining room one night. We each had a separate room, and they were beautiful rooms. And my favorite part, full use for free of the courtesy refrigerator. Every day I took all the candy bars out and I collected them and I mailed them. I went to the post office and mailed them to my kids.
I love that.
I loved New York City. I had terrible expectations. You're told, oh, they're so rude. It's so dirty. It's not safe. It was wonderful. It's
Mhm.
such a good time in New York. Loved it. You said you liked it. What was your favorite thing that you did when you were there?
Well, I like the fact, and this is my experience in like New York and Chicago is you could walk 3 blocks and hear a different language.
That's always fun. Yeah,
And
like
I
that.
love
Yeah,
that. And you
yeah,
could walk, 2 blocks and there's another museum, there's another
yeah.
store or something like that. It's just one of those things that I like, that nice variety. So
New York for me, the thing that stands out that I remember the most fondly, and I loved a lot about it, and I really liked the people. Don't believe what you hear. I really, really liked the
mhm,
people. I thought they were funny, a little edgy. They all had a little edge to their humor. They were very funny and really
mhm.
helpful and polite. I got to see a couple of Broadway shows.
Oh,
How
yes.
jealous are you? I saw Hairspray with
Oh,
with
fun.
with is it Fierstein? Harvey Fierstein?
Harvey Firestein.
Fires,
Firestein.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
terrible with
yeah.
names. Oh my God. The guy that played the husband, the
Mhm.
father, he has since died. And he was famous for, can't remember his name, famous for his kind of rough gangsterish roles that he played. He was a little bit typecast.
Uh-huh.
But he was a great song and dance man.
Oh, yeah.
He was so good. It was fabulous. Yeah. Really, really
I
good.
love that. I love that. When I was in New York, I was able to see 1776.
Oh yeah.
That
Yeah, I remember
was
that.
that
Yeah.
was a lot of fun, and yeah, I'm a big fan of just and off Broadway stuff. When I was in Chicago, I saw the preview show of The Addams Family.
Oh, was that good?
It was phenomenal. It
Who was
was
in it?
um you asked me too quickly. I can't remember.
Sorry.
But it was really wonderful, and it was a little overproduced. So, and when it got to New York, they took out one of the songs that sort of told a storyline about something that I enjoyed. But that was years ago, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
I really am partial. See, this is why I don't really listen to popular music. I like Baroque, you know, maybe some
Mhm.
Mozart, early classical, and Broadway show tunes. Am I old or what?
Well, I'm genetically, I'm supposed to like show tunes, just because
Oh,
apparently,
please.
that's the, let's do all of that stuff. But I have to say, um there's something very powerful of when somebody is able to take a situation, a human emotion, and put it into a situation, and then you tack on music with it, and then you tack on some dancing. It like completely can transform people. I mean, can transform you.
It's
So,
such an avenue for creativity. I love lyricists who have a sense of humor. So there was a show that was redone, what do they call it? A revival,
revival. Mhm.
yeah, of how to succeed in business without really trying.
Yes.
And so they revived it in the 80s, I think, or maybe the early 90s with Matthew Broderick in the
Hmm.
role. That was good.
Yes.
But they revived it again a few years ago with Daniel Radcliffe, Harry
Oh,
Potter.
yes.
So you're thinking, oh God, this is going to be dreadful. He
No.
was so good. And he performed at the Tonys. You know how they take one song from, they did uh oh, how does it go? What's the song? I can see the dance number and I can't remember the words to the song. It's all about uh, all the businessmen are dancing.
Uh-huh. I can't
It'll
remember it.
it'll come to me in a minute. A very, very demanding athletic performance, and all these guys are in suits,
Oh yeah.
1960s business suits. Very good. Oh, what was it called? But I was showing my husband because it's on YouTube, and they, just the one performance, and I get all excited about it because I just love it so much. And so I started singing with it, and he looks at me kind of funny. He goes, I can't believe you know the words.
Well, yeah. Well, and I think it was one of
Oh,
those things.
oh,
What?
Brotherhood of Man.
Brotherhood of Man. Okay.
There is so okay.
There you
I'll
go.
spare you. Yeah, go ahead.
What's really interesting is I always like it when, like, Daniel Radcliffe is a perfect example of this. He was pigeonholed into Harry Potter, which he did fine. No question about that. He's an actor. And so actors oftentimes do not want to be typecast or
That's right.
and so he, after Harry Potter, I think, was it Oedipus?
That I don't know. Oh, no, Equus maybe.
Equus. It was Equus. Thank you. And that was really, really controversial because suddenly there were sections where he performed without clothing on.
Yeah, I kind of remember that.
And so, Harry would never do that. But
Are you serious?
yeah, I mean, and what was great is it really got people out of he is an actor. He's able to take on these roles. It's so interesting.
You saw, or I'm sure you're familiar with, I haven't seen the whole thing. What's it called? Hamilton?
I have not seen it. I am familiar with it. Yes.
Have you seen the little scene of King George?
I have not.
Okay, you should watch that on YouTube. It's very interesting. I think it's the only song in the whole show that I really like. I have seen a chunk of Hamilton here and there, and I didn't like any of it, but I loved this one performance where King George comes out and he's just trying to placate the colonists to get them to come back under the fold. And by the end of this 3 or 4 minute song, he's full-blown psychopath. It's really good. So the guy that plays in the original Broadway was Jonathan Graff, and Jonathan Graff is a Broadway dancer and singer. I knew that. I've seen other things that he's been in, little bits and pieces, and he's absolutely wonderful. Imagine the surprise to find out that he had the lead role based on John Douglas, the FBI profiler of serial killers, the one who invented profiling in late 60s. In that show, it was episodes, it wasn't a movie, but it wasn't a full-length TV show either, called Mindhunter.
Oh, okay.
He was the young guy, the FBI agent in that. Wouldn't have known. I was shocked. So good. Okay, one more question.
One more question sounds good.
Okay. Oh, this is really good. The best advice you have ever received. That's a hard one, huh?
That is, because I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about that at many different levels. I was very fortunate. My parents said to me we don't care what you do so long as it makes you happy.
Oh, that's really good advice. Yeah.
And it's really good advice, especially, I'm the youngest of 12 children. And boy, everybody had an opportunity to get higher education if they wanted it. But the best advice is, are you happy? It's like, is this going to make you happy? Then do it. And we will support you. So
That's wonderful advice. That's a real gift from your parents to a
it
child.
really,
Although
really.
you do realize, of course, that you benefited from their other 11
Oh, of course.
experiences. Yeah.
Oh, heck yes.
I want to insert in here to Jules. I know Hamilton is so popular. There's no accounting for taste. I have odd taste and I just don't like that style. I like Cole Porter. So
Well, and what's really fascinating, what I am, I've not seen Hamilton. I have listened to the music, and I know friends who have seen it. I love the fact that live theater has evolved and included this type of music, and the fact
Yeah.
that it's so invigorating because of that, there are more people who have watched live theater
Yeah.
because of this. I love that.
Mike Pence went to see it. I mean, come on, right? And I think I want to defend myself. I mean, nobody said anything awful, but I know people get defensive of Hamilton. It's very popular, but just so I can make everybody mad, I hated Sound of Music. Hated it. So it's more about just a personal appeal, and there's no accounting for it. What is that? What was that?
No, that's I removed myself just to be a smartass, and you didn't like Sound of Music.
No, I did not like Sound of Music. I don't really like Julie Andrews. Don't come after me.
No, it's okay.
That's Florence Henderson, great musical comedy star. That just goes to show you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the best advice you've ever gotten?
I was trying to think about that. I think it not necessarily advice, but like the most valuable philosophy I wish I could live by. Does that count?
Sure.
Is to let go of attachment to
Hmm.
ego and expectations of the material world. Like worried about the future. I worry a lot. Worrying about the future, worrying about what people are doing and thinking, and just living in the moment. To live in the moment. That's the best advice I've received.
There's some people in the chat who have Eliza said that's a great song, profound about crazy King George.
Yeah.
Sleuth Joe, my wonderful mother's words still ring in my ears. Never give your power away to a man.
Oh, perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
Eliza, the worst advice from their mother was, don't let them see that they hurt you. When I was dealing with being teased. I am sorry, Eliza. That's just, yeah.
Yeah. Hard,
Yeah,
isn't it hard to understand why people do that to other people?
it really is. And
Yeah.
Swampy63 said, when lacking in any area, say, address this the issue with, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you.
Oh, I love that.
That's
Those
a
are
good
hard
one.
words to say. That's hard. Yeah.
And Tim said his brother cannot stand the Sound of Music either.
That's why Tim and I are friends. What
There
can
you
I
go.
say?
And
We have a common hatred. No, or maybe he likes it though. Maybe I
hatred.
should be friends with his brother.
Yeah, there you go. Tapestry of the Unseen is here. And
Your mother
so
was a
I think
stoic,
it's
Eliza?
what?
She said her mother was a stoic. I'm curious, does she mean that in the literal sense? I mean, she followed the philosophy of stoicism.
Yeah,
I'd
I
like to
don't
know
know.
that because I'm considering, you need to email me because I'm considering doing a series on stoicism. Not that I know anything about it, but when did that stop me? I want to learn more and I'm going to share.
And Eliza also said that I forgive you. That thing is a shorter version of the Ho'oponopono.
That's Hawaiian, right? That Hawaiian philosophy. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
The best advice that I have been given recently, and I've actually tried to share this with people on my channel, is this mine?
So can you
So
explain that?
when I'm feeling certain ways, I'm seeing something, or I'm having an interaction with somebody, and there's a lot of emotions that get stirred. And the question is this mine? Meaning, am I taking on someone else's energy? Because if it's not mine, then I don't need it.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah.
Goes along with that. I got this from when I was in a Buddhist book study group. Was is it true? Is what I'm thinking, is it true? And pressing pause for me, because I'm an overthinker. I can be a worst case scenario person. I know nobody who's watching this is like that at all, but I have to put
Oh, you're
myself.
not talking to anybody like that.
But I it's like, is this true? It's like, okay, that's actually helped me a couple of times to get out of a downward spiral
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
especially after I retired and things were not going the way I had expected them to go.
Was that a big adjustment?
Huge adjustment. Huge
Really?
adjustment. Yes.
Because you identified with your job, or?
Well, I'm a hardcore extrovert. I am, I'm used to interacting with people. I was supervising anywhere from 20 to 35 people. So I
would never ever have predicted that, because you're so awkward in a one-on-one.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Tragic.
It's tragic. But yeah, it was a huge adjustment, because I was going to take the winter off and hibernate and do some other stuff. And I had about 2 weeks before the world shut down. And I went, okay.
Oh, you're retired right before COVID broke out?
Yeah, in 2019.
That winter of 2019. Oh my God,
and
Gerald. But
so
aren't you glad? In a way, aren't you glad that you were?
I am totally glad.
Good timing.
But then the other thing that was really good is I learned that I could be by myself and still be okay. Because again, remember, I was so hardcore being with people, and I really like, I could be fine and be by myself and be alone. And then the other thing is that my husband and I were very good at being alone together.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It's beautiful.
I'm married to somebody who is, this will be a shock to everybody, very quiet and an introvert. And he's very intelligent, and he has an awful lot of talents, electrical work, microbiology, woodworking, music, composing. I mean, just all kinds of talents, cartoon drawing. I mean, it's kind of disgusting, and has absolutely no problem entertaining himself 24/7. It just really could live in a vacuum and be happy.
Sure.
I'm the extrovert. I know this will come as a surprise.
You're an extrovert?
Well, a false extrovert.
Maybe a little one.
Yeah. Actually, I discovered, same thing, same as you. I discovered that I'm perfectly good alone and with my own company. And it's not, you don't have any trouble finding ways to spend your time. Do you ever say, oh, I'm so bored, I don't know what to do? No, me neither. Ever.
No. And I think about that as because I was like, boring people get bored.
Ooh, snap. Glad I said I don't get bored.
Boring people get bored.
Oh my God.
There,
Touché.
I said it.
Well, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I think some people have never been given the tools to spend their time. For example, children don't get the opportunity to learn hobbies anymore.
Correct. Like knitting.
Now, my grandchildren they're being forced to, because we're all kind of hyper alert about that kind of stuff. My husband, my sons-in-law, my daughters, and the aunties with the
Yeah.
nieces and the nephew. So there's a lot of making sure they have arts and crafts, and well, their father's an artist, making sure they have access to things that don't involve screen.
Yes.
There's too much of that anyway. Even with the effort, external pressure, it's terrible. Really terrible. My daughter sent me a picture today. They got snowed in, and so school got canceled. They had a snow day.
Oh,
And she
okay.
sent me a picture of my 8-year-old granddaughter, and it said, snow day, sitting on the sofa with her cat and an iPad. And I thought to myself, when I was her age, now I'm really sounding old. When I was her age, it would have been with a book. She reads. There's
Yes.
no issue, very, very good with reading, but still it's kind of a default choice.
Yeah. When I was growing up, I think I was, how old would I have been? 12, I think. We had the blizzard of 70, 78, 76 in Ohio, where we had like 6 feet of snow in a short amount of time, and schools were canceled and all that
I
stuff.
can't even imagine.
Yeah, yes. And so I remember, as a kid, we were able to keep ourselves occupied. I mean, we had encyclopedias that I read. I read a dictionary for fun periodically. I was also that kid who, we collected, my parents played cards, and so they would bring old cards home.
Yeah.
And I would put the cards up, and I would make these
card houses.
Card houses and just weird stuff like that. It was fun.
That's not weird. I love what you said about the dictionary, because as a good Catholic girl, the dictionary was my only source of sex education. I'd look up, physiology terms, biology terms. That's really kind of pathetic, isn't it? It's kind of sad.
But you figured it out. You figured it out.
Well, I don't know. When I was 14, I thought you could get pregnant kissing.
I
was pretty naive.
Well, yeah, I was pretty naive too.
So. Okay, well then, and look at how great we turned out, right?
And look how great you turned out.
That's right. Well, this has been fun. I suppose we should try to put a stop to this before we go into our 24th hour of marathon.
Thank you for hosting, and everybody, thank you for being here.
It's been so much fun. It looks like people are really having, I can't follow it and talk to you at the same time. I'm terrible, but I'm catching little pieces of it. Somebody, I think Tim was talking about being a black belt and
brown belt, I think.
Okay.
Brown belt and
medical pictures. Yeah, medical books are a great source of important information. They're kind of the Playboy of the 50s.
Oh yeah, yeah. Interplanet Janet is here, and and also okay. So here's what my mother did: is there was a PBS show called, I think, The Miracle of Life or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it was long time ago. I don't even think you can find it now.
Yeah.
But mom sat me down to watch that with her, and she said, "Let me know if you have any questions."
Oh wow, you had great parents.
Okay. Well, yeah, but it was, let me know if you have any questions instead of asking me what I learned and all that stuff. But it's okay.
Well, I probably shouldn't talk about this, but I can't help it. My mother finally thought I was old enough and explained getting your period. And it was presented to me as, God has given you the gift to be a mother. Not how, just, here's your gift. And I guess you can't unwrap it. I remember being very confused, just horribly embarrassed. But I didn't know why, because I didn't know what it was I was supposed to be embarrassed about. Yeah. I just knew that, children really were not given access to the kind of information you really need.
Yeah. Well, I've heard what's very important is that everyone understands what happens in their own gender and the gender and the other gender. I think it's important that you physically know what's going on in the body, because if I know what's going on for a woman with a period, then it's information. Knowledge is power.
There was a lot of ignorance. I don't know
Yes.
whether there still
Yes.
is, but
Yeah.
it's sort of stunning how much ignorance there really was. Somebody was saying that where did it go? No, it's disappeared. There was a great comment, but it's disappeared. Darn. The Miracle of Life show was amazing. You know, I never saw it. I didn't have a TV for a really long time because I was some kind of hippie.
Yeah.
Oh, your parents were in their 40s. See, there's an argument to be made for that. They're kind of more mature and maybe a little bit more settled and ready to deal. They look traumatized.
Yeah, I love that, Grace. My daughter said that when the boys came out of their sex education classes, they looked traumatized. I love that.
They divided us up in like the 7th or the 8th grade, and they showed all the boys a video. They showed all the girls a video. I have no idea what they showed the boys. The only thing I remember from the girls' video was that you're supposed to use deodorant under your arms. It was obviously made real impression.
I guess.
Well, it was a Catholic sex education.
Oh,
I think it might have involved the Holy Spirit coming down. I'm not entirely sure.
Well,
we're going to hell. I think our job here is done.
Our job here is done, and thank you, everybody. And by the way, I do see some members who are posting comments, because you now have your channel open for membership, correct?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, yes. I opened my channel for membership because I wanted a little bit of privacy to discuss things so as not to be harassed by people with a negative political agenda, or there's a lot of misogyny out there, and there's a lot of racism out there. And also, I'm kind of a subpopulation of vulnerable because I'm an immigrant and they're trying to take away our citizenship now, So I just wanted to be a little circumspect, but now I've blown it because I've said it out in the public,
Well, I just wanted to mention that if people had missed that, there's lots of opportunities to get all of the Helen you want.
Oh, sorry.
No,
sorry about that.
No. You're all adults. You can purchase responsibly. You know your limits.
Just don't drive. Don't drive after. And I want to extend a thank you. I don't say it enough, and I haven't figured out quite how to interact with my membership fully because I'm just inept. I do have it in mind. So, I know. I wanted to remark. Somebody mentioned that I think Tim said we need a philosophical thing going on, content, regular, philosophical content. I'm working on it. It requires knowledge, and so I'm working on it. I'm reading and I have a plan. There's a plan in mind. So stay tuned because it'll be interesting. But in the meantime, I really appreciate people who have pursued signing up. 99 cents, cheap at half the price.
There you go.
To create a wall of privacy. That was the idea. And I do have Substack. My Substack is a little bit more political, a little bit more metaphysical, and try to keep my YouTube a little lighter. I know it's hard to believe, but try to keep it a little lighter. So
no, I completely understand. Yeah.
Do you have a membership?
I do not. I do not have a membership. I would like people to reach out to me when they need personal readings and things like that.
Yes.
But people don't, and I'm not sure why. But
I know why.
Why?
Oh, it's the same reason they don't reach out to me. I forget to talk about it.
Oh, well, that's true.
You don't advertise enough about it. I mean, you have to, marketing. And that's like, not
I'm
good.
gonna have to do a short that said Irish Granny Helen told me that I needed to remind everybody that I do this. So no, but but I haven't. I'm enjoying what I'm doing right now, and that's fun. So
It kind of presents itself when it's ready. I mean, I struggled for 4 years against doing memberships, against
mhm,
doing lives. Some of us are a little slower, to get there than others, but
yeah,
it happens in its own good time. And
it
I
does.
I feel like I have this group of people who watch my stuff, my
Mhm.
insane ramblings, who are just wonderful. They're supportive. They have their own opinions. They don't always agree. I love it because they're respectful and informed, and engaged. And isn't that what we want?
Yeah,
Makes me very happy. Make
yeah.
a description and content and keep it in Word document. Produce a new
I
video.
yeah. I
Oh, Tim, you're so naive. I don't know what a
actually,
Word document.
Tim, I do that. I actually have, if you go to my channel, I spend a lot of time on the descriptions because if I'm talking about something, if I'm talking about a book, I want the author to get credit. If there's an illustrator, and yeah, and so been doing this for 4 years, so then I can copy and paste. So I understand.
That's really good. I only recently learned how to copy and paste. When I first had to learn how to send a link, somebody said, "Will you just copy it and paste it?" And I said,
What's copy and
yeah,
how do you
yeah,
copy and how do you paste?
yeah."
Yeah,
I
I
never
get
worked in an office. I never did any of that stuff. I did nursing. I did,
it. Mhm.
and janitorial, which are very similar actually in many ways.
Yeah. Eliza said, Helen, the world energies needed to change to allow you to open the group
I
to the
think
group.
you're right. I do think, when the time is ready and the need is
Yeah.
here. Yeah, yeah,
And Tim has actually said we will have lessons.
yeah.
Helen will
We've
have
talked
lessons.
about this. Yeah, Tim and I have talked about it, and I think he's a
Prove it
great
then.
font of knowledge about a certain area of philosophical thought that he kind of introduced me to, and I find it absolutely fascinating. So, yeah, we're
That's
working on
beautiful.
it. Yeah, we're all trying to find different time zones. Hard to find a
Yes.
compatible time to work things out. Then we have to argue about how to structure it and get into a few disagreement. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better because I know you were
Thank
not
you.
feeling too well last time. And
Hmm.
I really, really, really appreciate everybody who joined us and who communicated. It's great fun. And if I didn't mention your name or I didn't see what you said, I apologize. I'm just really blind. I have a hard time seeing the little writing. Yeah.
Well,
And
well,
yes, I could wear glasses. I have glasses for reading close up. I have glasses for driving distance. I
mhm,
don't have the in between. I can't focus with these. I can't,
right.
it's ridiculous.
I
Okay. Thank you, Gerald.
thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. And we'll be back, right?
Yes.
Or have you had enough?
I'm the
Slung to
youngest
foil,
of 12
everybody.
children.
Slung. Okay. Let me hit this button here.